It's time for The Drive with Q on Sports Radio 102.9 FM The Game. Now, here's Q.
Good afternoon, everyone. 5 o'clock straight up on a Monday edition of The Drive with Q, coming at you live inside the friendly confines of the SR 102.9 FM studios. I'm your host, as always, Rich Quinones, mi hermano. Angel Martinez behind the glass producing the show, keeping us on the air. It is indeed a Man Up Monday. We got 60 to play with. 727-858-6650. That'll get you involved in two-way sports talk. Bring something to the table. We are powered by our good friends over at Fresh Roasted Coffee, Played Against Sports, and Zen Auto Concepts. And where do we begin on this 25th of November? You know, it is fitting that Thanksgiving is a couple days away. It is fitting that we've got a bunch of soft, jive-ass players that are not going to be dismissed over the next 60 minutes. But I've got, again, I got to get it out of the way because my level of disgust and disdain and just absolutely, I'm beside myself on this Man Up Monday. And listen, I'll say this. You guys were right with a couple things regarding some of the picks and a couple of things regarding some of the plays and the bold predictions. And I will take credit where credit is due, but I will also take the egg on the face. I will man up. But let me start because I feel as though it's every single solitary friggin' week with the New York Giants. And I'm at the point right now where I can't do it anymore. We joke taking the Sundays off, go fit. I cannot invest. This team does not deserve any fans' ounce of energy. Because what I saw on Sunday at home coming off a bye was an absolute friggin' disgrace. There's just no way you can sell me on this players play hard in the NFL. The hell they do. The hell they do with some of these players. Some of these players have already decided to make a business decision. Some of these players already decided that they're going to cash in, and they don't want to be a part of the foundation anymore. They don't want to be part of a team anymore. They're making selfish decisions. How the hell do you explain two teams coming off a bye, two teams coming off bad losing streaks, one of them desperate for a win in Tampa Bay, the other one trying to play out the string, and then to come out so ill-equipped, so unprepared, so undisciplined, unfocused. And I have a lot of reasons why the Giants got drubbed by Tampa Bay yesterday, 30-7, why the New York Football Giants are 0-6 at home, why the Giants have dropped 6 straight, why the Giants need to get the friggin' GM and the head coach out of here. Because listen, there's 31 other teams in the NFL. 31 other teams in the NFL. And you're actually seeing teams that are not good on paper play hard football. You're seeing teams on paper who have no roster, who have no stability, no consistency, no continuity, but yet they're going out there and they're selling out. They're trying to ball out. Carolina Panthers stink. They stink, but they showed heart yesterday against the Kansas City Chiefs. Some of these teams are showing heart. Some of these teams are not showing heart. I am so sick and tired of every friggin' Sunday having to watch the garbage that team up the turnpike is putting out there. The Giants yesterday flat out quit. They embarrassed every great player that ever wore that uniform. They are a bunch of soft-ass players with no friggin' heart, and the friggin' head coach is the leader of the pack. Get him the hell out of here. Get him out of here. I'm over it. I am beside myself watching this nonsense. It is putrid. And you know what? For everyone that told me on Friday when they made the move with Daniel Jones, you know what? They're going to rally around Tommy DeVito. Get the hell out of here with that nonsense. It's just ludicrous. You had so many times to just basically make this move early. And you knew it was money in your pocket if you took Tampa Bay in the points. You were banking coin. You were walking away happy on a Sunday. That game was over before you guys even parked in the lot. That's how bad it was. The fact that they not only benched Daniel Jones, which I had no problem with, but then they released Daniel Jones, which ultimately we knew that was going to happen. But you release him during the season because he requests that, and you don't think that's going to have a trigger. You don't think there's going to be a domino effect. You don't think there's going to be cause and effect by doing that. And all of a sudden, the teammates who love him, who adore him, he's a leader. And I don't want to hear this. He can't be a leader on the team. He stinks. He's a leader. The kid plays tough. He's not the greatest quarterback in the world, but give him his just due with some things. He's a tough quarterback, and he tried to lead a bad team. And you cut him, and you don't think there's going to be a trickle-down effect? I mean, why would you do it? Why would you do it last week? It makes absolutely no sense. They were not even competitive. They were not even competitive yesterday. It was embarrassing. I've watched bad football. I've watched a lot of bad football in my life. And I can tell you, what I saw yesterday was a friggin' disgrace. That team should be ashamed of themselves. And then you got players coming out. Malik Neighbors, who's a friggin' rookie, who drops a lot of passes, by the way, who might be a talented kid going forward. Shut up. Seriously, shut up. Nobody wants to hear your comments on you not getting the football. Oh, why? We want to hear the players. We want the players to be transparent. You know what? If you're going to talk, learn some friggin' decorum. Learn how to be diplomatic at the end of the day. Because you know once it's leaked out or once it's on film or once we get the soundbite, well, I don't know. Change quarterback. Ask Dabes. I can't imagine great Giant players of yesteryear. I can't imagine the Amani Toomer's, the Mario Manninghams, the Victor Cruzes, the Brandon Jacobs, the Strahams, the OCs, the Justin Tuck saying, ask Koff. Go ask Tom. Eli Manning. It was Coach Coughlin. It was Coach Coughlin. This team lacks character. This team lacks fight. This team lacks heart. They lack discipline. They lack respect. And the leader of the pack is the head coach. The leader of the pack is the head coach who had this team so ill prepared yesterday. So ill prepared. Did anyone not think that was going to be a distraction? And then you jettison pretty much Drew Lock and you go to Tommy DeVito? This kid can't play. It was embarrassing to watch. And Tampa Bay, they needed that game. They played as if their playoff lives depended on it. You got a quarterback in Mayfield that's a friggin' gamer. I'm done. I'm over it. Get the coach out of here. I don't want to see his friggin' face anymore. I hope this team loses friggin' outright. I hope they get the stuffing kicked out of them on Thursday. I really do. Dallas Cowboys put up a 50 spot, embarrassed them on national TV. Giant fans, you should not have to sit there at 4:30 while the tryptophan's starting to sit in your system and you're trying to stay awake to watch that crap, that garbage. You deserve better on Thanksgiving. Go outside if the weather's nice and friggin' toss the football around. Do something. Rake the friggin' leagues. Go for a walk. At 4:30, steer clear of the television. That's going to be a friggin' disgrace. You're going to throw back up your cranberry sauce. Just get out of that nonsense. Get rid of this coach. And then to top everything off, I have to sit last night while my day was already friggin' it was beyond aggravating. It was beyond ruin. And I got to watch Saquon Barkley run for 255 friggin' yards. Now, I am not a scorn lover. I am not the jealous type, but I got to sit there and the fact that he's doing it with the Eagles, it just wants me to drive an ice pick through my eyeballs. And this thought that, you can't get rid of great players. Saquon Barkley's not running with that offensive line behind him in New York. He's having a monster season. And again, I hate to say it, I was wrong on the Eagles. And I know I'm going to get pounded by the Eagles fans who are already starting to chime in on Facebook and send me some messages. I'll take a man on a man up Monday. I'll give you your just due on this day. They look like they are going to be a very tough out. They really do. They look like they're going to be a very tough out. Can they go on the road and beat Detroit? I'm starting to think maybe they got to punch her shot. Maybe they got to punch his chance. But last night, I love the Rams in that spot last night. And that game turned on that early fumble. And what did the Philadelphia Eagles do? Something that a team like the Giants can't do. They actually methodically move the football, and they got big playmakers. Whether it's Brown, no Smith last night, DeTaden, Saquon Barkley just running friggin' rough shot. I mean, are you kidding me with this nonsense? 255, he averaged. He averaged. I mean, I feel like I have to squint or make the lighting better. The contrast on my laptop, on my Mac right now. I have to make the display a little brighter. He averaged 9.5 yards a friggin' carry. Saquon Barkley averaged almost 10 yards a clip last night. He's having a monster season. Yes, stick him in the MVP conversation. Yes, it's actually killing us to watch Saquon go off. Good for him. By the way, Jones clears waivers. He's a free agent right now. But the bottom line is this, man. In a league, in an NFL, where these players get paid millions of dollars, because I told you, by this time, right around week 10, 11, 12, you're going to start to see teams making business decisions. I told you this. You're going to start to see teams turning around and some of these players deciding, it ain't for me anymore, man. It ain't for me. We're seeing it with the Raiders. We're seeing it with the Patriots. I mean, the Patriots are a friggin', don't even get me started. That coach should be one and done. What a friggin' joke. And now you're starting to have some teams kind of slide back a little bit. You know, Washington, that was a horrible loss. That was a horrible loss yesterday for Washington in a crazy game. I don't know what the hell's going on with kickers. We'll go around the league. We'll do the good, the bad, and the ugly. But when you have a fractured locker room and you have players coming out, when you sit 2-9, you've dropped 6 straight, you haven't won at home, and players are complaining that you didn't get the football, or you finally got the football when you're down 30. Or, you know, listen, my teammates aren't giving 100% correct, 100% effort. Or we played like garbage. This whole notion that John Mara wants to keep Joe Shane and Brian Daboll, you know, the GM and the head coach respectively, it's all bets are off. All bets are off. The releasing of Daniel Jones wasn't the worst move. It was the timing of the move that fractured the locker room. And it was a gut punch. It was a gut punch. And I understand it's going to be the new norm in the NFL with some of these quarterbacks. We saw it with Palmer. We saw it with Carr. We saw it with Kaepernick years ago. Jimmy Garoppolo. We're not going to play you because we don't want to pay you in case you get hurt. But yesterday, if you're a Giant fan, you deserve better. You flat out deserve better than what you saw. That head coach is a clown. The GM is a clown. Get them out of here. And now you got to fight for that top overall pick. Right now it's Jacksonville, the Giants, and the Raiders. The Raiders need a quarterback. The Raiders are about to go in the tank. The Raiders are going to get rid of Antonio Pierce. The Patriots are going to get rid of Mayo. I mean, you want to talk about coach saying, you know, being beyond transparent. Him, well, once you go past the white lines, it's all on them. His ass is going to be out of New England. That was a colossal mistake in hire. I told you guys that during the August when we were going through training camp and we were breaking down these teams. Poorly constructed roster, horrible head coaching staff. Never stood a chance in hell. He's not the only coach that's going to be on the hot seat. But man, I'm telling you right now, I don't know what the Giants are waiting for. Like, what's it going to take? You need to get embarrassed 40-0 on Thanksgiving Day? National window on the road? Where I don't even care if they win another game. Lose outright. Blow it up. You got all these former players right now. For whatever reason, you should have traded Saquon when you could have got value for him. They chose not to. You should have traded Darius Slayton. He didn't catch a pass yesterday. I think he had 2 balls thrown to him. They didn't. McKinney walked. Okay, I get it. He had the attitude problem. He had the issue with the hand, but now he's balling out with Green Bay. Love over in Seattle. Williams over in Seattle. Saquon obviously is arguably the best player in the NFL right now. They should have traded Saquon during the season. They chose not to. You let these players walk, you get no value. What's the sentiment? You hang them around for a couple more games? For what? For what? That's like sitting there and you fall in love with the milk carton and the expiration date is a month old. What are you keeping in the refrigerator for? Get rid of it. For sentiment? the GM, it's just colossal disaster from top to bottom. Just colossal. It's to the point, it's not even, it's beyond unwatchable. And for all these Giant fans that are so giddy, number 1 draft pick, here we go. Shador Sanders, pump the brakes. Because I'm seeing red flags from that kid that I don't like. And my gut's starting to tell me, unpopular opinion, run with it, go ahead. Kid might be a bust. So let's pump the brakes right there. So what did we learn yesterday in the NFL? That's the big question. What did we learn yesterday? We're starting to see some rookie quarterbacks have hit a wall. Some rookie quarterbacks have not hit a wall. But what we're really seeing is the teams that we thought were going to be, well, aside from me with some of my misplays, but the teams that we thought were going to be juggernauts, we're starting to see that. We're starting to see the boys separate themselves, right? The men from the boys. We're starting to see that in the NFL. I mean, we saw that. The Vikings figure out a way to win, right? The Lions, they didn't have to light up the scoreboard, but they put up 24. They're 10-1. Miami, if Tua doesn't get hurt, Miami's starting to come on a little bit. Tampa Bay, signs of life. The Chiefs, again, got bailed out late, but they got the win. The Broncos are surging. Green Bay is surging. The Eagles are surging. And then conversely, on the flip side of that, what the hell's going on with San Francisco? What the hell's going on with Arizona? What's going on with the Rams? What the hell's going on with the Texans? And then below that, you have the season can't end fast enough. And that's really a handful of teams. The Patriots that didn't even show up against Miami. The Colts who have hit the skids. And Richardson didn't play poorly. The Giants, the Jets, Carolina. I mean, these teams, the Titans are a bad football team. But yet the Titans played hard and they won a game yesterday against a pretty damn good Texans team. The Raiders are mailing it in. But again, they tried to keep the game close late, but they lose Minshew. So we're seeing a rookie quarterback in Knicks ascend. Daniels hitting the wall. Coaching is everything in the NFL. Everything, everything, everything in the NFL. Look at Harbaugh. Look what Peyton's doing. And then you got to watch some of this, the rest of the dreck. And yesterday showed me one thing. We talked about the lines on Friday. The teams that are bad, that are playing hard, they put it on film. They're playing for each other. Their head coach is coaching them up. And then you have other teams that have basically just decided we're going to mail it in. That's really where we're at. And I don't want to hear this nonsense. Brian Daboll hasn't had a chance to pick his own quarterback. I don't care. He might go on and be a really good head coach, but he has lost the locker room. And we saw it with great coaches. Belichick. Parcells late. The second time around. Right? We saw it. We lived through it. Even when he's making the moves from the Giants and then the Jets and then the Patriots and then boom, to the Cowboys. Andy Reid late in that season. The message was falling on deaf ears, and that's exactly what's happening right now. When you have players come out and they basically, in so many words, call the coach out, you can't have it. You just can't have it in the NFL. You can't. The players aren't going to go, especially if they're good players. You're going to get rid of the coach. I'm telling you, it's just it's tough to watch sometimes. Even when you watch a Sunday and you see just the shoddy tackling, the missed assignments. I mean, look at these kickers in the NFL. What the hell's going on with these kickers? Minnesota game, hello. Washington game, hello. The Dallas Cowboys had an automatic kicker. He's missing left and right. Washington yesterday, just the most bizarre plays you'll see in the fourth quarter of a football game. The final 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes. It was just absolutely ridiculous. McLaren, inexplicably, right? Well, prior to that, it's 20-17 with about 3 to go. Dallas up by 3. Washington has a chance if they get the ball. You know they're going to kick a game-winning field goal or score because Dallas has shown that they'll give up the big play. And then what happens? Turpin, the ball bounces, he catches it, corrals it, spin move, boom, and he takes off. And he returns the ensuing kickoff for a touchdown. And then a minute later, McLaren breaks free and he just bobs and weaves right through the Dallas secondary. And it's a friggin' 27-26 game. And oh, by the way, you just need to finish off with the extra point. Nope. Seibert. That's just brutal loss for Washington. And it goes to execution. Execution. The great teams know how to finish. The great teams know how to execute. The great teams can get through mistakes. Carolina, the Jets, Jacksonville, the Patriots, the Raiders, the Giants, they can't. They can't. They don't have the right head coach in place. They don't have the right GMs. They don't have the roster constructed the way it should be. But if I'm the Giants today, and if I don't show up on Thursday, and I get waxed 35-3, and it's a no-show again, and the players are flat out quit, then John Mara, if you want to say sell the team, he has no choice but to fire the head coach and the GM. Head coach should be gone today. This is not a knee-jerk reaction. I've seen enough. Head coach should be, he still wants to call plays. And the GM's friggin' clueless. Absolutely clueless. We'll go around the league. We'll open up 727-858-6650. Cranking up on a Monday edition of The Drive right here inside the friendly confines of the Sports Radio 102.9 FM studio as part of Coastal Sports Network. Rich Quinones is here. Angel Martinez on the other glass. We'll take you up to 6. We'll get to your next. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, sure. Just, yeah. Oh, what's going on, Joe? What's up, pal? Go ahead. Fire away. Yes. I, I listen. I don't know what to tell. I mean, they got peers in Denver. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It's yeah. It's I would tell if you got some edibles out there, man. You know what? Eat up right now. It's bad. Let me ask you, son. Would you fire the head coach today?
I said, I don't think it was a Daniel Jones problem. I think there's something deeper, either in the organization. I think the ownership is still good, Q. I really do. I just think there's something else going on that's amiss. And I swear to God, if you put Daniel Jones on the Carolina Panthers or another team and he goes and wins, he'll prove the point. I think there's something else going on in that organization. I'm pissed off, Q. I'm pissed off.
You should be. You should be. It's bad. It's a bad watch. And I think the timing of releasing Daniel Jones and benching him was a gut punch. I'm hearing some rumblings that if they do have a no-show Thursday, that Mara might pull the plug on Daboll. And again,
Wow.
I know people are saying, he's a good head coach and give him an opportunity, and they didn't get to bring in their own quarter. Joe Shane basically gave him that contract extension. Daboll had to back that in some capacity. And you know what, Joe, too? The worst thing that happened to that team, I'm going to tell you one of the worst things, and no one's talking about this, doing Hard Knocks. Because the optics and perception on Hard Knocks. Now, obviously, they sign off on what they want you to see, but when Joe Shane's sitting there with John Mara, and John Mara sitting there saying, well, I'd lose a lot of sleepless nights if he went to Philly. And then Joe Shane basically dismissing Saquon, and then Daboll rolling his eyes when he says we're going to roll with Daniel Jones. The optics perception, I mean, that clip, that basically encompasses this era of Giants football, or at least this regime right now. How do you no-show? How do you no-show coming off a bye like that? Yeah. It's a disgrace. Fans were friggin' leaving in the first quarter.
I'd rather have shots of whatever that friggin' liqueur is, the Marlot.
Jaeger, a little Jaeger shot.
Get a little Moondog 2020, a little lightning in a model there, But the thing is, there's just something going on. I think Daniel Jones is a good quarterback. And I think you alluded I think you or Malort was the shot. The Malort. You ever have Malort? Oh, it's the worst ever. But I think Daniel Jones. I don't think he's the issue, and I think he's in the wrong system. I think, and like as I was saying, Q, I think you alluded to it last week or maybe a little before. Daniel Jones is once he got drafted, he's been bouncing between coordinators, right?
It's very hard to have stability.
And
no offense,
I don't know. I kind of feel for the guy. I don't, because he's got what, $100 million in the bank. But anyway, thanks for taking my call, Angel.
Got it, Joe.
Thanks for taking my call, Q.
Appreciate you.
I got Martha Stewart on the other line. Love you guys. Keep up the great content.
All right, Joey. Thanks, man.
All right, 727-858-65. I listen. It's a Man Up Monday. I knew you guys are going to come out at me. I'm already seeing some of the comments. I promise we will get to them on the other side. I will take it like a man. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. And by the way, I'm not. You know what? Fire. Let me see Vince's comment real quick, and then we'll move around a little bit, because I want to pull this up because Vince listens in this show, and I think he's misjudged me. You sound like a grumpy old man firing everyone and hating all the QBs. It's a new game, new faces, and new coaches. Catch up, Q. Catch up on what? What? I want to fire Brian Daboll. Why? Because his offensive play calling sucks, because he decided to go to Tommy Cutlets, the slinging Sicilian, the passing Paisano, who couldn't do shit yesterday on a Sunday. The play calling was atrocious. Let's go for it on 4th and 12 from the 30, but then elect to punt when it's 4th and short. Head coach has no guts. That quarterback is not a starting quarterback in the NFL. And the management misled Drew Lock. You're paying him $5 million to hold a clipboard. No, I know why Vince makes that comment, because he must have caught the tail end when I turned around and I said, my gut tells me that Sanders is going to be a bust. Because everyone wants to get so gung-ho out of these quarterbacks. They're not the sexiest group of quarterbacks coming out of college. You can't just draft a quarterback to draft a quarterback. You can't just sit there because the fan base wants the sexy name. You can't. That's not how you win. Imagine if the Dallas Cowboys actually drafted Johnny Manziel. But Cleveland was like, Johnny Manziel, here we go. That's a sexy name. Turned out to be a bust. And Daniel Jones, I think there can be a reclamation project. Look at some of these quarterbacks that I mentioned. Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold. And I know, again, people don't want me to say this word, bridge quarterback, hanging around for a year or two. I don't know who's going to be good. Nobody knows who's going to be good. It's like that scene in Moneyball where Brad Pitt sat there and said, I sat at that table. I know. You don't. We don't know. All the Mel Kipers and the McShays of the world and all these talking heads, nobody knows what will transpire from a Saturday to a Sunday. We don't. We don't. We can have a guess. We can have an analysis. We can have a feeling. My feeling years ago was Josh Rosen was a bust. And everyone screamed at me, how do you know? All I said is, it's just my gut. That's all I said. That's all I said. My gut. I don't think this kid's going to be a good player in the NFL. And look what happened to him. You know, you see red flags, and you guys will sit there and tell me, okay, hold on. You got to take it easy. You got to take it easy. I've watched enough football for a long time, covered enough football for a long time, talked to guys that are in the know for a long time. It goes past just the talent, the athleticism. You have to start to talk about the speed of the game, the football acumen, the IQ, the character, the guts, what's inside. And I'm sorry, some of these players, they just don't have it. You know, some of these guys, when I say reclamation project, you guys have to listen. I'm not saying the guys that I mentioned are bridges. They've turned it around. Geno Smith has shown you I can be a franchise quarterback. Baker Mayfield evidently has shown us it's there. He can be a franchise quarterback. Sam Darnold has been somewhat of a bridge, but now he's showing maybe I could be a franchise quarterback. That's all I'm saying. And it's not about those guys, because they're having success. Why? Because it didn't work out the last time. It didn't work out their first or second stops. Daniel Jones might go on and have a nice 6, 7, 8 year career as a starter. I don't know. The NFL always needs quarterbacks. They always need quarterbacks. But for you guys to sit here and suggest me it's a new game, it's a new NFL, there's new faces, I don't want to hear that nonsense. After 0-6 at home, after scoring 13 points, after having horrible football for 15 years, to not even showing up on a Sunday, for guys quitting. You guys want to tolerate players, rookie quarterbacks, rookie players, or wide receivers who've had a cup of coffee in the NFL start calling out their coaches? You guys would be pissed off if your players were doing that with your team. I don't need Malik Neighbors to open his mouth. Learn a little decorum. Seriously, learn how to be diplomatic. Show some respect. You might be right. He might be 100% correct. And he might have that competitive fire and edge that we love. But sometimes you don't need to peel the whole curtain back and let the whole world know your thoughts. You have to be a little diplomatic sometimes. And then conversely, we want these head coaches to not be so transparent. Gerard Mayo in New England. Well, once you get on that white line, it's all on you. Pfft, what? And to Joe's point, and it's a great point, there is a disconnect within that organization. And now that locker room is fractured because you got rid of a popular player. And I'm not saying he deserved or didn't deserve to get benched. I would have benched him. I would have benched him after the half at Carolina in Germany. I would have. The handwriting was on the wall. They paid him a lot of money based on one season. It was miscalculated. They let Saquon walk. Mistake. Should have traded him. They didn't trade Slayton. They signed Golladay. Mistakes. Love. McKinney. Mistakes. That falls on the old regime in Gettleman, and it falls on the GM Joe Shane. That's all I'm saying. So when you have that and you put it into a little crock pot, ultimately, you know what happens? And again, it's not about the retread with these head coaches. You're not understanding what I'm saying. I have no, go after Ben Johnson. Go after a young coach. Seriously, go after a young coach. Go after a Ben Johnson. I've got a list of guys already. Anytime, Joey. I mean, listen, the 250, you might have to split the friggin' bill with me. Go after some of these young coordinators, fresh faces. I'm fine with that. Yeah, it's a pipe dream. Yeah, you love to see Belichick come full circle with the Giants. That's not going to happen. Gruden's overrated. I don't want Gruden. I don't want Rex Ryan. No, Mike Grable, I'd take a flyer on him. Quinn, I would have taken a flyer on him. Defensive-minded guys. My whole point is coaches do not survive. I've said this ad nauseum. And I promise we'll take a quick break and I will get to all your comments. I've said this for years. When you are a bad football team and it's really bad and you're not competitive and you're not showing up and you get to that, November, December, and you're at home and your stadium is being overrun by the opposition, the opposing fan base, and you've got fans leaving in the second quarter, that's when coaches get fired. We saw it with Chip Kelly. I saw it with Andy Reid. I saw it years ago with Ray Rhodes. I saw it with Shermer, McAdoo, Judge, and we're going to see it with Daboll. All right, 5:34, quick timeout. We'll come back on the other side. Your comments as well, 727-858-6650. Keep it locked in on a Monday edition of The Drive with Q right here on SR 102.9 FM The Game.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, The Game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
I will turn that fucking shit off right now. You can play a fucking commercial all you want. Turn that. I don't ever want to fucking hear that nonsense again on the Drive with Q ever again. If I was held in a Turkish fucking prison and they start to play this, I swear to God, I would fucking tell them to just off me right there and then. That's the bumper music you want to come back to? Are you kidding me?
Download the Sports Radio 102.9
that bumper guy,
FM
thank
game
you.
app and tell your friends that Florida has a new leader in digital sports radio.
You do not want me to just incredibly shrink you down to nothing. Fucking nonsense. I gotta listen to that stuff.
Hey,
5 o'clock and you got me dropping F-bombs all over the place.
Figure make you feel just a little bit better.
No, I don't want to hear that crap. Absolutely. 727-858-6650. Let's see what you guys have to say on a Monday.
We have to go
Fire
way back.
them off. Let me see some of these comments. Let's see what we got here. Aggravated. Correct. Frustrated. Bamboozled is not bad. Annoyed I am. Chris Rock.
Ah, boy. X-Man's got tons of them.
Saquon reminds me of Chargers, LaDainian Tomlinson or Barry Sanders in that on any given play, he can go for 50 and score. Yeah, when healthy and behind a great offensive line. Can we just admit the Eagles have a great offensive line and the Giants' offensive line sucked? It's amazing that actually Saquon put up those numbers his rookie year. He bounced back, but again, behind that offensive line, he's going to get hurt. There's no shot he's getting hurt with the Giants. I mean, with the Eagles, pardon me. Baker's having one of his best seasons. He has changed the type of player and person he is. Reminds me of Jared Goff in terms of his turnaround. That's actually a pretty good pull. And remember, too, Jared Goff, Jeff Fisher just wanted no parts of Jared Goff. None whatsoever. And now we're seeing what Jared Goff is doing. That's a good pull. I like how them boys personally open the oven door and put the paper champion Commanders in the oven to cook. That's just, yeah. I mean, no, he's not. Get out of here, Trevor. That's horse shit. I'm starting to. Do I have to hedge my Commanders? I mean, how do you?
You wait. See, and the reason why I play that too, because who did you pick to win a division early on? And you were
and I have to stand by it.
Right.
I'm not gonna turn not turnstile, turn heel. I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, but I don't need to hear that. That really, I haven't won at home. I haven't done diddly in years besides one playoff run. I'm letting players go left and right. I lose by 30-something to friggin' Tampa Bay. People are leaving in the second half. Saquon's going to be MVP. He rushes for 255, and you got the friggin' audacity to play that nonsense? I mean, think about that. Think about the setup. You see how aggravated I've been. You've heard me rant for 40-something odd minutes. You see I'm getting bright red. Forget about how nice and, the glow that my skin usually is, and I'm getting all worked up. And then you're sitting there, you're like doing me a favor?
Just a little bit.
Right. I mean, seriously. No, I don't. That is true. My word and my stones. That's it. Commentary on Baker's Tommy Cutlet celebration. Too much on the arms, not enough. It's so funny. Like, I had no problem with that. Like, who cares? Like, who cares? You know,
I-
he had like almost like the mummers going right there. You know why I don't have a problem with that? Because Baker Mayfield is such, and we know he was breaking balls and sticking,
Right.
you know, and he probably knows, he mentioned he likes DeVito, but Mayfield, how do you not like Baker Mayfield?
You have to. At this point, resurrected his career. I mean, my thing was, and I mentioned this morning on my show, was that you got to think the Glazier family's got to look at it like they have to. You would be dumb not to at least sign him for a 3-year extension at this point.
Listen, Baker Mayfield, he got his contract. He deserves it. He deserves it. Listen, how do you not like him, man? You know why I like Baker Mayfield? He might not be the most gifted quarterback in the world, but he gives you fight.
He does.
When they lost to, what was it, the 49ers game? I think it was the 4th down play. He's trying to make something out of nothing. He plays with passion and energy. And here's the other thing. Baker Mayfield totally gets it. And when I say he gets it, what does that mean? What are you trying? I'm telling you what I mean. He gets it. Well, he's trying to actually get money from his father, by the way. I know there's a lawsuit going on, but anyway, he gets it in this regard. He realized he might have been bounced around in the NFL. And then he has that cup of coffee with the Rams, and he shows up on Monday night and he wins the game. And it showed the attention to detail. He realized, I'm not going to miss out on a second chance, a second shot. But he is definitely a reclamation project. He had the great run with Cleveland with the playoff win against Pittsburgh, and then he got hurt, and the Browns decide we don't need him around anymore, right? They discarded him.
Mm-hmm.
Smith discarded him. Jared Goff, top overall pick, inconsistent, discarded. Daniel Jones was the number 6 overall pick. Daniel Jones is not as good as those guys. Daniel Jones has some talent, but again, if anything, reclamation project, it could be there. I don't know. 727-858-6650. I mean, Baker Mayfield, listen, give me a player that plays with heart and passion. I'll take that any day of the week. By the way, let me get to a couple of these Facebook comments and on X. Tom and Neptune, Q, I'm over this, lifelong Giants fan. How do you no-show like that? And for the head coach, you still want to call plays. It's a joke. Johnny C in Staten Island. Q, enjoying the show. I know you're getting a little too fired up, but you nailed it, bro. The fact that coming off a bye, deciding to release Jones was a horrible thing, timing-wise. Now you have players calling out each other, effort, and the coach. It's time to fire him, move on. 5-6 weeks will not make a difference. We got Justin in Southwest DC chiming in for the first time. Just found you guys online. Loving the football talk. Huge Commanders fan. I'm pissed off yesterday. How do you lose that game? What's wrong with them? Did Daniels hit a wall? They also need to cut the kicker. Thanks, Q. I think Chris Sims brought up a good point last night with the Commanders. They can't run the ball consistently. They're not getting to the quarterback, and their special teams has been a disaster. I mean, you score like that late in the game, and then you miss the extra point. But we're seeing that left and right in the NFL. Block field goals, block punts, right? Special teams gaffes. And as far as those Giant comments, you're right, 5 to 6 weeks doesn't make a difference. It just, at this point, it's very hard for me to wrap myself around the thought that a team like the Giants or the Patriots or the Raiders are going to win any more games. You don't think the Patriots are checked out?
Yep.
The Raiders players checked out? Checked out. Giant players checked out. Can we pull up? I think Vince, I don't know where his comment was. Let me see if you can find that. The second one, 727-858. Here you go. Man, he just likes twisting it. The Belichicks and Parcells are gone. Manning, Brady, Breeze are gone. They're not walking through that door. It's a new day with new players. Sounds like you don't like the new era. Catch up. These kids are a result of their parents. Is that where we're going with this? It's not about that, man. It's not about that. Is this where you want to go down that rabbit hole with me? Listen, when you haven't done shit in your profession and you start to yap, I have a problem with that. Let your play back it up. Then you can talk. And my buddy brought this to my attention, and I'm starting to see it with neighbors, and I don't like it. He's got a little bit of that Beckham in him. And after the Giants did Beckham a solid and gave him that contract extension, what did he do? The friggin' little prick went on ESPN and he threw his quarterback, his soon-to-be Hall of Fame quarterback who won 2 Super Bowls, 2 MVPs under the bus. No, it's not about me not catching up. And I know right now, we know if you guys have listened in, Vince is a huge Colorado fan. He is a huge Sanders fan. So I think my needling, basically saying that Shador might be a bust. Is anyone talking about Shador bumping into the officials? Anyone talking about Colorado getting humbled? You want to flip pigeons with me on a Monday? Right? Really? Seriously?
Right. Some are going that route.
I mean, do we? Seriously, we want to go that route today? I mean, no, not poor Vince. Poor Q. I'm dealing with a horrible season right here. The season ended before Halloween. You guys are getting on me with this nonsense. Are you kidding me? Kevin C. and Trent chimes in. Q, who the hell are the leaders on this team? There's not any of them. You really think the team quit because of the release of a crappy quarterback? Come on, man. No way. Not buying it. Do better. No, you do better, Kevin. You do better. Because what I'm seeing is a lack of effort across the board. But I appreciate you chiming in. I just don't like lack of effort. I don't mind. You look around, these players are getting paid a lot of money, man. And I understand it's their livelihood and they're putting it out there. And you're frustrated and you want that competitive nature and fire. And yes, Neighbors' comments are probably 100% accurate. Like you want that dog in a player. You want a player to want the football.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You want a player when it's 4th and 3, 4th and short, give me the ball, put it in my hands. That's why you're paying me. I love that about the kid. But again, there's a time and place. You got to be schooled a little bit with handling the media. There's an art involved in it. A little more decorum. Don't peel back. Don't invite everyone into your house right away. They have to earn that. So when you're basically sitting there saying, I don't know, I got the ball late. It's not the quarterback. Talk to the coach. That in street terms is basically saying, coach sucks. That's all that is. It's coach's fault. I need the football more. Tell the coach. That's all that is. It's like when the A team gets occupied in the gentleman club, you don't see the B team completely.
I gotta give it to X-Man, man. Listen, every week he brings
my God. Are you kidding? Pull that back up there one more time. Let's keep that. We might have to rack that comment. It's like when the A team gets occupied in the gentleman's club, you don't see the B team a lot of drama, though. You don't see the B team complaining. They just come around and keep the night going. You know why? Because they have to. They're the B team. I mean, you feel bad for the C team because they get the shitty afternoon shift.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, think about it. That's a debacle on its own, by the way. You got the buffet at 12. You got the C team. I don't need to see the girls woofing down some wings and get right on stage.
Now coming to the main stage.
Oh, I used to do that. Star to the main stage. Hey, don't forget to tip your bartender before you get out of here. Yeah, absolutely. That was a fantastic.
It was.
Fantastic comment. Let me get to a couple more. Oh, how about this? Joe and Boca. Rich, what world do we live in where these guys are making millions of dollars to not show up at all? It's really alarming. It's pissing me off. I can't watch these leagues anymore. Some players seem to cash out and quit when things get rough. Transparent New York fan down here in Florida. Glad I caught you guys online on the YouTube channel as well. Rough season for the Giants. It's painful to watch. They should have traded players when they had value. Great stuff. Enjoy the weather down there. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. That's across the board. Finding the unicorn at lunch is a heck of a feeling. It's fun. I'm done with this nonsense. All right, let me get you to good and bad and ugly while you guys are just enjoying yourself on a Man Up Monday. That's a hell of a win. You know, I do have to give credit to the Eagles, man. I do. I feel bad for Brandon Graham. That's a tough one. You know, gentleman, you know, very good franchise player. Slay concussed, right? So, you know, turn around. We'll see where they're at. That's a big game coming up against Baltimore. They right now, they look to be that contender with Detroit. They really do. They're doing it on both sides of the ball. That turning point last night was the fumble. They were absolutely dominating the Rams tackles last night. The line of scrimmage is where you win, and then they're making all these holes for Saquon Barkley, who rumbles for 255. And by the way, I have no problem if you want to put him in the MVP conversation. He's going to rush for over 2,000 yards. I haven't even added the receiving yards, the yards per average. You take away 6 or 7 short yardage situations where he could add another couple of touchdowns. He's having a phenomenal season. And it's, ultimately it's a move that will probably haunt the Giants because they never got any type of value for him. I thought yesterday, Minnesota leaking a little bit of oil, but they got to win 5-1 on the road. Obviously, the Bears covered the number. And then Green Bay throttled. They woodshed at San Francisco. I mean, the 49ers, it's just not their year. Too many injuries, inconsistent play. You got an issue with Purdy as well. Will the Eagles be a road favorite next week? I think you're going to wait to see what happens tonight, Monday Night Football, and where that line is. I mean, right now, the Baltimore Ravens are 2.5-point favorite on the road against the Chargers. Believe it or not, I do like the Chargers tonight in the spot. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. But that game against Philly, man, that's going to be a hell of a game, man. That's really going to be a fun game to watch. I can tell you right now, Thanksgiving opening day lines are already out. Detroit's at least 10-11 better than Chicago. The Giants are probably going to be a 4 or 5 point dog, and Green Bay is probably going to be a slight 2-3 favorite against the Raiders. As far as the Eagles, see how it plays out tonight in the Monday night game. If the Ravens lose or they win and they look bad, I can see the Eagles being a 2-point favorite on the road. They're hitting on all cylinders, and that's what you look for. Denver starting to trend up, right? Seattle got a nice one. Green Bay trending up. Miami, if Tua doesn't get hurt, where the hell is Miami? I mean, Miami's still right there. I think they're the 8th seed in the AFC right now. If Tua doesn't get hurt and he puts up some big numbers, they might have a shot to get in. Baltimore defensively, they've had some issues. They've had issues. I mean, they really have. Who travels more yards? Angel on the sidelines at USF soccer match, or Saquon Barkley is running back for the Angel would probably get some good plus 250 on the money line going back and forth, right?
Yeah. I had a lot of miles between soccer and USF football, especially this past weekend. So yeah.
There you go. A lot of blowouts this weekend, by the way. Green Bay, 28 better than the 49ers. Eagles obviously ripping through the Rams. I'll tell you, we talked about Jaden Daniels, Offensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, look at Bo Nix. That kid's been absolutely lights out. Oh, by the way, coaching does matter, right? It does matter. And I think for my money, we're talking about, comeback player of the year, right?
Right.
Is it possible Saquon Barkley not only would win Offensive Player of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year, maybe MVP?
He probably win all categories. Are you kidding me? At the rate he's going right now?
Sam Darnold's going to get some votes. Sam Darnold, because you lose the quarterback, you lose the rookie. Sam Darnold comes in. That would be an interesting matchup, man. It's a 3-team race right now in the NFC. You know what? Hold on. Check that. I don't want to hear from Packers fans. Green Bay, Detroit, Minnesota, and Philadelphia. Am I missing anyone? I'm talking about out of the NFC.
No, that's about right. Those 3 right there.
Nope. Atlanta doesn't scare me. Arizona doesn't scare me, even though I had them for a playoff team. You got 3 teams out of the NFC North. Detroit, Minnesota, Green Bay, they're all going to make the playoffs. Eagles are going to win the friggin' NFC East. I mean, the Eagles have won 7 straight. Washington's lost 3 straight. I thought that game in a couple of weeks was going to mean something. It looks like it's not. Plus, you got to look at, divisional, right? Washington's 5-3. Eagles got the better of them. They're 6-2 in the conference. 2-2 in the division, pardon me. Eagles are 3-0. And then in the AFC, Kansas City might be 10-1, but they're a flawed 10-1. We saw what happened to Pittsburgh against Cleveland. Buffalo's 9-2. I guess my point is, last week we talked about the NFC being jumbled up, right? And I mentioned I thought it was going to be a really tough road when you match these teams in the Super Bowl because of the talent in the AFC. This is what happens now in the NFL. It changes so fast, right? Week to week. Look what's going on in the AFC. If I were to back in a corner right now and say what team really scares you, Kansas City's beatable. Kansas City's leaking oil. They're beatable, man. They're 10-1, and it looks great on paper in the clippings, but they're a flawed 10-1 team. Buffalo's won 6 straight. AFC North, Pittsburgh had a bad loss. Baltimore's trying to regroup. Cincinnati's done. I mean, do the Chargers scare you? Does Denver scare you? AFC South, I don't think it's a strong division. I think the winner, listen, I think the NFC, we talk about those teams, they got a legit shot of winning the Super Bowl this year. As much as it pains me to say the Eagles, you have to be fair and objective. But Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota, Philly, you can make a case for all those teams. I still think it's going to be very hard to go on the road in Detroit.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Match them point for point. But again, kind of come full circle. A couple weeks ago, what did we talk about when it came to the Philadelphia Eagles? Identity. What's your identity? It's pretty clear what this team is. They are a run-first team. That's it. They're going to keep pounding the rock with 26. They're going to live and die by the legs of 26 and the toughness of 26. Hurts, we want to say manage the game, whatever. You get Smith back. They're going to be a tough out. They really are. And they're going to win in spite of the head coach. But when you're blowing out teams 17, 20 points, you're really not putting the coach under a microscope. It's when it's a close game in the fourth quarter that you call into certain questions. Giants are going to go 2-15, and the Eagles are going to play the Lions in the NFC Championship. And Saquon's going to be Offensive Player of the Year and the MVP. And I'm going to have to sit here and just contemplate who the next GM, head coach, and quarterback is going to be in my franchise. And you know what really, really just breaks it almost breaks me, Angel. The fish weren't biting yesterday. I was very close to being a broken man. The year the Eagles won the Super Bowl, the Giants went through one of their worst seasons in franchise history. And I had to just sit there and just take the medicine and just, what do you think? Philly special? Yeah, let's do it. Shut the fuck up, Doug.
And he still has a job. Go figure that one out.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Oh my God, the aggravation. All right, you got to start wrapping up. I might need therapy. I get the Bunker Boys. Yeah, wide open, running amok. That's what it's all about. By the way, that might be comment of the year, the Gentleman's Club comment. They're again, crabs everywhere. Might have to do that barter deal with Play It Again Sports and start handing out some merch. All right, got to start wrapping it up. Excellent stuff from you guys. Comments during the show on X, on Facebook, on YouTube as well. You guys are fantastic. Have a good Sports Monday. We're not sure yet. Rest of the week, we don't know. With the holiday, if we can squeeze in another show or a Black Friday show, that would be fun. If we do not speak to you guys, well, you'll catch us on BYP. That'll be recorded on the YouTube channel as well. But if we squeeze in a Wednesday, who knows? We'll have a little fun before Thanksgiving. By the way, I have my annual list of Jive Turkey Awards, so that'll be fun. That's always an interesting topic of conversation. Jive ass turkeys, by the way.
Yeah.
Homage to the great line in the movie Trading Places. If you recall the jail scene with one Eddie Murphy. Remember that scene?
Yep, sure do.
Yeah. And
Just
it was
like
to be a Jive ass turkey this close. Yeah. So, all right, we got to get going. You got Jay's show coming up, right?
Yes, Beeves World coming up here.
All right, so keep it locked in, guys. Don't go anywhere. Support the show coming up on the other side. You guys are fantastic. Angel Martinez behind the glass. We are powered by Play It Again Sports, Zen Auto Concepts, and of course, fresh roasted coffee. BYP tomorrow with Lloyd Vance. We'll recap everything. Week 12. I do like, as mentioned, the lightning bolts tonight with the number against the Ravens. Have a good Sports Monday. Hopefully, we'll talk to you maybe on Wednesday, definitely on Friday. Until then, I'm Rich Quinones. Hasta luego, buen día.
do.